Have you ever nurtured a fruit tree all year only to see your precious apples or peaches ruined by ugly spots and rot right before harvest? It's a heartbreaking feeling every gardener knows. You put in the work, but diseases and pests steal your reward. In this video, I'm going to share the 4-step professional spraying schedule that I use in early spring. This is not about blasting your trees with harsh chemicals. It's a smart, targeted approach that will protect your fruit trees, blueberries, and shrubs, and help you get up to 3 times more fruit. We'll cover everything from simple iodine solutions to powerful treatments like copper and Dodine. And stick around, because the 4th spray is one that many gardeners overlook, but it's the secret key to stopping some of the most stubborn diseases in their tracks. Let's get started. Before we grab the sprayer, it's crucial to understand why this time of year is so important. Think of your trees and shrubs right now. They're dormant, like they're in a deep sleep. But hidden in the cracks of the bark, on fallen leaves, and in the soil are the spores of fungi and the eggs of pests, just waiting for the first warm days to wake up and attack. Early spring spraying is our chance for a preemptive strike. We're not just treating a problem, we're preventing it from ever starting. It's like building a shield around your orchard before the battle even begins, which is the very essence of smart, lazy gardening. This proactive approach saves you countless hours of work and worry later in the season. You are essentially dealing with the enemy while it is weak and exposed before it has a chance to multiply and hide among the new spring leaves and blossoms. This is the single most impactful thing you can do for the health of your orchard. So let's talk about the golden rule of early spring spraying. The number 1 factor for success is timing. Spraying too early can be ineffective because the pests and fungal spores are not yet active or vulnerable. Spraying too late, after the leaves have emerged, can risk burning the delicate new foliage and is far less effective as the pests have already begun their life cycle. The ideal window is very specific. We are generally looking for a period when temperatures are consistently above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. But before the buds have fully opened, this is often a period of just a few weeks in the early spring, and it can vary year to year depending on the weather. You must become a keen observer of both the thermometer and your trees. Missing this window is the most common mistake gardeners make, rendering their efforts useless. So, watch the forecast and be ready to act when the conditions are just right for a few consecutive days. To truly master timing, you need to learn to read your trees. Forget the calendar for a moment and look at the buds. Horticulturists have specific terms for these stages, but you can learn them visually. The first stage is full dormancy, when the buds are tight and small. Next comes bud swell, where the buds begin to enlarge and look plump. Then you have bud burst, or green tip, when the very first hint of green leaf tissue starts to peek out. Finally, you get to the pink, or white stage, just before the blossoms open. Each of our 4 sprays is most effective at a specific one of these stages. For example, dormant oil is best applied during dormancy, or early bud swell. Copper fungicides are often applied at late bud swell or green tip. Applying the wrong product at the wrong stage can be at best a waste of time and money, and at worst, damaging to your tree. So, take a walk through your orchard every day in early spring. Get to know what your buds look like. This intimate knowledge is what separates the amateur from the pro. Our first line of defense, and the first spray you should be thinking about, is paraffin oil. You'll see this sold under many names, like horticultural oil, dormant oil, or superior oil. Don't get confused by the branding. They are all essentially a highly refined mineral oil that is safe to use on plants when properly diluted. This is one of the oldest and most effective tools in the smart gardener's arsenal. Why? Because its method of action is purely physical, not chemical. This makes it an excellent choice for organic gardeners or anyone looking to reduce the chemical load in their garden. It's a broad-spectrum solution that tackles a wide range of overwintering pests before they ever have a chance to become a problem. Think of it as spring cleaning for your trees. You are washing away the hidden threats that have been waiting all winter long to attack the vulnerable new growth of your plants. It's a simple, elegant, and incredibly effective first step. So, how exactly does paraffin oil work? It's magic. The science is beautifully simple. It's all about suffocation. When you mix the oil with water and spray it onto your trees, it creates an incredibly thin, uniform film that coats the bark, branches, and twigs. This microscopic layer of oil covers the overwintering eggs of insects like aphids and mites, as well as dormant insects like scale. These pests and their eggs need to breathe, even during winter. The oil film blocks the tiny pores, called spiracles, through which they exchange gases with the atmosphere. Without oxygen, they simply suffocate and die. It's a completely non-toxic mode of action, meaning pests cannot develop a chemical resistance to it, which is a common problem with modern synthetic pesticides. This is why horticultural oil has remained a trusted tool for well over a century. It works today just as well as it did for our great-grandparents, a true testament to its effectiveness. Let's get specific about who our enemies are. What pests are we targeting with this dormant oil spray? The list is long and includes some of the most frustrating culprits in any orchard. First and foremost, aphid eggs. A single spray can wipe out millions of them before they hatch and start curling new leaves. Next up are spider mites, whose overwintering eggs are also highly vulnerable. If you've ever had problems with tiny webs and speckled leaves in the summer, a dormant oil spray is your best friend. It is also incredibly effective against scale insects, those strange armored bumps that attach themselves to branches and suck the life out of your trees. The oil penetrates their waxy protective shells and suffocates them. Other targets include the eggs of codling moths, persilla, and various caterpillars. By eliminating these pests at the egg stage, you are preventing entire generations of insects from ever being born, dramatically reducing pest pressure for the entire season. Proper application of paraffin oil is absolutely critical for it to work. The goal is 100% coverage. You need to imagine you are painting the tree with a very fine mist. Every single surface of the bark, from the main trunk all the way to the thinnest twigs at the very top, must be coated. Pests are experts at hiding their eggs in tiny crevices and under loose bark, so you must be thorough. Choose a calm, dry day with temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Never spray on a windy day, as the spray will drift and you'll get poor coverage. Also, avoid spraying if freezing temperatures are expected within the next 24 hours, as this can damage the tree. Use a good quality sprayer that produces a fine mist. Start at the top of the tree and work your way down, circling the tree to ensure you hit it from all angles. The bark should look wet and glistening, but not to the point where it's dripping heavily. This single, thorough application is your foundation for a pest-free season. After we've dealt with the overwintering insects, our next major concern is fungus. And for that, we turn to our second powerhouse spray, copper fungicide. You'll find this sold under brand names like Miedzian or simply as copper hydroxide or copper oxychloride. Copper has been used for centuries as a potent fungicide, and for good reason. It is a powerful protectant that forms a barrier on the surface of the plant, preventing fungal spores from germinating and infecting the tree. When a fungal spore lands on a copper-treated surface, the copper ions disrupt its cellular processes and kill it before it can cause disease. This is a crucial preventative step for some of the most devastating orchard diseases like peach leaf curl, apple scab, fire blight, and bacterial canker. Applying a copper spray in the early spring before the leaves emerge is like vaccinating your trees against the season's worst diseases. It's a non-negotiable step for anyone serious about growing stone fruits like peaches and nectarines. While copper is beneficial for most fruit trees, it is absolutely essential for stone fruits. This category includes peaches, nectarines, plums, apricots, and cherries. These trees are particularly susceptible to a range of devastating fungal and bacterial diseases that overwinter on the bark and in the buds. For example, bacterial canker on cherries and plums can cause branches to die back and can eventually kill the entire tree. Brown rot can turn an entire crop of beautiful plums or peaches into a fuzzy, mummified mess in a matter of days. A properly timed copper spray is one of the only effective ways to combat these issues. It sterilizes the surface of the tree, killing the spores and bacteria that are lying in wait. For stone fruit growers, the early spring copper spray is not an optional extra. It is the most important single action you will take all year to ensure the health and productivity of your trees. It is the cornerstone of a successful stone fruit harvest. If you grow peaches or nectarines, there is one disease that should be your number one enemy: peach leaf curl. This fungal disease, caused by Taphrina deformans, is a nightmare. The fungus infects the leaves as they emerge from the bud. The result is horrifyingly thickened, curled, and distorted leaves, often turning red or purple. These infected leaves will eventually turn brown and fall off. This not only looks terrible, but it severely weakens the tree. The tree has to expend a huge amount of energy to grow a second set of leaves, which reduces fruit size, quality, and overall tree vigor. A severe infection year after year can eventually kill the tree. The crucial thing to understand is that once you see the symptoms of leaf curl, it is too late to treat it for that year. The infection has already happened. The only way to control it is preventatively, with a dormant seasoned spray of copper fungicide. This spray kills the fungal spores on the tree's surface before they can infect the emerging buds. Timing the copper spray is just as important as timing the oil spray, but the window is slightly different. The ideal time to apply copper for issues like peach leaf curl is during the bud swell stage. This is when the buds have visibly fattened up, but have not yet broken open to show any green or pink tissue. This is the moment when the overwintering fungal spores are most exposed and vulnerable, and just before the emerging leaves become susceptible to infection. If you wait too long, until the leaves start to emerge, the fungus may have already infected the bud. Furthermore, applying copper to emerged leaves can, in some cases, cause phytotoxicity, which is a chemical burn on the foliage. So again, observe your trees daily. The moment you see those buds start to swell, that is your signal to get the copper spray on. Choose a dry day, as the spray needs several hours to dry on the tree to be effective. A single, well-timed application can mean the difference between a healthy tree and a diseased one. Now, a special note for those of you growing blueberries. Blueberries are not fruit trees, but they also benefit immensely from an early spring preventative spray program. They are susceptible to several fungal diseases, most notably mummyberry and Phomopsis twig blight. Copper fungicides can be effective against these, but you must be extremely careful. Blueberries are very sensitive to copper, and applying it at the wrong time or at too high a concentration can cause serious damage to the plant. The safest time to apply a copper spray to blueberries is in the very early spring, while the plant is still completely dormant and before any bud swell is noticeable. It's crucial to use a product that is specifically labeled for use on blueberries and to follow the dilution rates on the label exactly. For many blueberry growers, lime sulfur is often a safer and more effective dormant spray. The key takeaway is that while the principles are similar, you must always research the specific needs and sensitivities of each type of plant in your garden. Let's move on to our third tool, which is a much simpler and more accessible option that you might even have in your medicine cabinet. I'm talking about iodine, specifically a povidone iodine solution often sold as an antiseptic under brand names like Dodine. While it might sound strange, a diluted iodine solution can act as a very effective surface disinfectant for plants, much like it does for human skin. It's particularly useful for gardeners who are looking for a very low-cost, readily available option for general sanitation. It won't have the long-lasting protective power of copper against serious diseases like peach leaf curl, but it's excellent for a general cleanup spray to reduce the overall load of bacterial and fungal spores on the surface of your trees and shrubs. It's a great option for targeting less severe issues or as a follow-up spray after pruning to disinfect the cuts and prevent pathogens from entering the wounds. It represents a different approach, less of a powerful shield, more of a thorough cleaning. How does iodine work on plants? Its mechanism is very similar to how it works as a medical antiseptic. Iodine is a powerful oxidizing agent. When it comes into contact with the cells of a fungus, bacterium, or virus, it rapidly penetrates the cell wall and disrupts the synthesis of proteins and nucleic acids. This essentially scrambles the internal machinery of the pathogen, killing it very quickly. It's a broad-spectrum action, meaning it is effective against a wide range of different microorganisms. Unlike targeted fungicides that might only work on specific types of fungi, iodine is a generalist. The main limitation is that it does not have residual activity. Once it dries, its job is done. This is why copper is superior for preventing diseases like leaf curl, as the copper particles remain on the bark as a protective barrier. Iodine is for the here and now. It's for disinfecting surfaces and wounds, reducing the immediate pathogen load, and giving your plants a clean start to the season. Creating a practical iodine spray for your garden is incredibly simple. The most important rule is to dilute it properly. Using too high a concentration can burn your plants. A safe and effective general-purpose recipe is to use a 10% povidone iodine solution. For every 1 gallon of water, you would add approximately 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of this solution. That's about 5 to 7 milliliters per 4 liters of water. It's always best to start with a lower concentration and test it on a small branch before spraying your entire tree. When you mix it, the water should turn a light, tea-like color. If it looks dark like coffee, you've added too much. Apply this solution using a clean sprayer, thoroughly coating the branches and trunk, especially any recent pruning cuts. You can apply this during dormancy or even after pruning later in the season. It's a fantastic, low-cost tool to have in your smart gardening toolkit for general plant hygiene. Now we come to our fourth and final spray, which I consider the specialist weapon. This is for specific, stubborn problems and should be used more judiciously. I'm talking about products containing the active ingredient Dodine, which is often sold under brand names like Syllit. Unlike oil, copper, or iodine, Dodine is a modern, synthetic, and locally systemic fungicide. This means that when you spray it on the plant, it is absorbed slightly into the plant's tissues. It has both protective and curative properties, meaning it can protect the plant from future infections and can also stop an existing infection that has just started. This makes it a very powerful tool, but also one that we should use thoughtfully as part of an integrated pest management strategy. It's not the first thing you should reach for. It's the tool you use when you know you have a serious recurring problem with a specific disease that other broader spectrum methods have failed to control effectively. The number one reason a home gardener might need to use a Dodine-based product is for a severe, persistent case of apple scab or pear scab. Apple scab is a fungal disease that causes olive green to brown spots on leaves and fruit. It can lead to defoliation of the tree and makes the fruit scabby, cracked, and often unusable. While copper and other fungicides can help suppress it, scab can be incredibly difficult to control in wet climates or on highly susceptible apple varieties. This is where Dodine shines. Because it has some curative or kick-back action, you can apply it shortly after an infection period, for example, a long rain shower, and it can still stop the fungus from developing. This makes it a critical tool for serious apple growers in challenging climates. It's a targeted solution for a very specific and destructive problem. If apple scab is the bane of your existence, then learning how and when to use Dodine could be a complete game changer for your harvest. Understanding when to use Dodine is key. It should not be used as a general-purpose dormant spray like oil or copper. Its best use for apple scab is typically from the green tip stage through to a few weeks after the petals fall from the blossoms. This is the primary infection period for the scab fungus. It is crucial to read the product label carefully, as application timing and rates are very specific. The label is the law, and it provides all the information you need to use the product safely and effectively. You should also be aware that repeated use of the same fungicide can lead to resistance. Therefore, it's wise to rotate Dodine with other fungicides that have a different mode of action. And when should you avoid it? If you don't have a specific diagnosed problem like severe apple scab, you simply don't need it. Stick to the broader preventative sprays like oil and copper. Use the specialist weapon only when you are fighting a specialist enemy. No matter which product you're using, your most important tool is the sprayer itself. Investing in a good quality sprayer will make the job easier, safer, and more effective. For just a few small trees or shrubs, a 1 or 2 gallon handheld pump sprayer will work fine. For a larger home orchard, a 4-gallon backpack sprayer is a much better choice. It saves you constant refilling and makes it easier to get good coverage. Look for a model with a good quality wand and an adjustable nozzle. You want a nozzle that can be set to produce a very fine cone-shaped mist, not one that shoots out a jet stream. A fine mist will coat the surfaces evenly without excessive runoff and waste. After every single use, it is absolutely essential that you clean your sprayer thoroughly with clean water. Leftover chemical residues can damage the sprayer's seals, or even worse, could harm your plants the next time you use it with a different product. Let's revisit the art of full coverage because it applies to every spray we've discussed. It is not enough to just lightly mist the outside of the tree's canopy. Pests and disease spores hide everywhere. They are in the center of the tree, on the undersides of branches, and in the cracks of the main trunk. You must be methodical. Start from the inside of the tree near the trunk and spray outwards. Then circle the tree, spraying the entire exterior from top to bottom. Make sure to angle the spray wand upwards to coat the undersides of all the branches. Think in 3 dimensions. The goal is to get a light, glistening film on every square inch of bark. Pay extra attention to branch collars and junctions, as these are prime hiding spots. And always wear appropriate personal protective equipment. Even for organic sprays, you should wear long sleeves, gloves, and eye protection. Safety should always be your #1 priority when spraying anything in the garden. Finally, let's remember that these principles extend beyond your fruit trees. Many of the same pests and diseases can affect your other woody plants. Your flowering crabapples, roses, and other ornamental shrubs can all benefit from a dormant oil and copper spray to prevent issues like black spot and powdery mildew. Your currants and gooseberries can be protected from aphids and fungal diseases. As we discussed earlier, your blueberries have their own specific needs, but they too fit into this early spring preventative strategy. The key is to adapt the approach to the specific plant. You may need to use different concentrations or slightly different timing. The core idea, however, remains the same for the entire garden. A proactive preventative spray program in the early spring is the smartest way to stop problems before they start. It sets the stage for a healthy, productive, and beautiful garden for the rest of the year, saving you work and worry down the line. So there you have it. The 4 key sprays that form the backbone of a successful orchard protection plan. The suffocating power of paraffin oil, the fungal shield of copper, the simple disinfection of iodine, and the targeted strike of Dodine. It's not about spraying constantly, it's about spraying smart. By taking these few steps in early spring, you are setting the stage for the entire season. You're not just preventing disease, you're ensuring your trees can put all their energy into producing abundant, healthy, and delicious fruit for you and your family. This is the difference between a disappointing harvest and a year of abundance. It is the very definition of working smarter, not harder, in your garden. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this guide helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more smart gardening tips. We're all about getting more food with less work. And now, I want to hear from you. What is the biggest disease or pest challenge you face in your orchard? Let me know in the comments below, and let's help each other grow.